Hey, what's going on, everybody out here? Welcome to Champion Your Culture, the podcast. Look who I have in the studio in Indianapolis. I got to come to your studio, but
I'm in the house, man.
yo, you finally made it to
I'm
Indy.
here. It is freezing cold. It's been raining, which in Nashville we get a lot of rain, so it's not a big deal. But
Yeah.
it's the cold feature that these 40-year-old bones are not ready for, man. It's crazy, but I'm excited, man. I'm excited to be here in our office, our lovely studio.
Yes.
And I'm excited about everybody's joining us. Thank you, as always, for joining us live. Whether you're watching us live and or if you listen to us later on your platform, we appreciate it. Make sure you like, rate, and subscribe to this. Get the notification, hit the ding bell, and make sure you get notified every time we get on here live and bring you some inspiration, some words of wisdom and insights and strategies on all things leadership, culture. And so, yeah, we're excited, man. I'm excited about this one today as we got a good conversation that we've been discussing all week. So I've been here for a few days now, and I'm excited about this conversation as well.
Yeah, and before we go any further, I just want to say a couple of cool things that are happening right now at Culture of Good. The biggest thing right now is this guy right here just joined the Culture of Good team as officially the team. You've been on the team for
I got a better t-shirt. I've been on the team for about 3 years, but I'm officially, I've been on the bus stop.
Yeah. He's on the bus now.
I'm on the bus, and not only am I on the bus, I'm in the right seat.
Yeah, so VP of Business Development. So, when you think about what we do as the Culture of Good, we really want to help develop your leaders in your culture. And certainly within this podcast, we want this to be a resource for you every single week. So thank you for jumping in with us. We're real excited to have you on the team, man. I'm excited because now what we have to offer in terms of training and coaching and the leadership development piece of what we do is now like so much more robust with you on the team. So that's cool stuff, man.
My heart is there. What do you think about that? So I added this bobblehead. This is a new feature. if we're saying something right, bobblehead Ryo. We call him Ryo because we got Ryan. Ryo here.
That's my mini me over here.
Mini me.
he just agrees with everything.
Yeah, he's confused.
Yeah. It's the tequila early in the morning, apparently. So we're going to kick things off with looking at over the next 2 weeks. So this is going to be a 2-part. And we love doing that because we're only on for a half hour. We want to get right to it. This is going to be a really crucial beginning to the new year for each one of us as we're looking at what am I going to do in terms of my development? What are the areas of my life and work and professional development that I recognize currently right now or others have recognized? And what is my plan forward? We talk about it a lot at Culture of Good. You can't just say, this is what I want. You have to plan it.
Yeah.
You have to have a strategy. We can't just want to grow and want to have new opportunities and new experiences. We have to actually take the steps to do so. And so we're going to be looking at a 2-part series on writing your own IDP. Whether you are offered this through your employer or not, you can write your own IDP. Some people like to have a vision board at the beginning of the year. It's very similar, right? Because what you're doing is you're setting some goals and ideas, but the difference between a vision board and an IDP is a vision board is a want and a desire.
Yeah.
An IDP gives you the do.
Yeah.
And dreamers and doers are different people.
Yeah. You got to be able to execute. And for me, like every November, I've been doing this for many, many years, 20 plus years. It sounds like I'm old, right? But
sounds like,
feels like, acts like. But this is something that really every November I love to take a few weekends. So I'll have a weekend to myself where I just really hone in on where I am. So I always look at where I am already, and I look at what the plan was, my IDP for that year.
Yeah.
I identify what it is. What stopped me from getting to where I wanted to be if I'm not there, right? So I'm holding myself accountable to what I've already done. So then it sets the tone really for the next year, identifying the SWOT, my strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats that stop me or help me pursue me to that level that I wanted to be in certain areas of that plan, right? And then I take the next visit And then I get into, all right, what's the next year? So 2023,
Yeah.
what do I want to do? Who I am right now, where do I want to be? And really identify those. And so it's really about improving skill set as well.
Yeah. So really what an individual development plan is really about is it's an action plan where you can improve your skills, your knowledge, and your abilities. So
Right.
really the competencies of what you do as a leader and how well you lead really is dependent upon how you plan that out, and you know what you're going to do in terms of your growth and what those goals are going to be as you're embarking on that. One of the things that we do, and I think this is really important, because different than a vision board, you kind of put a bunch of stuff out there, and you know, there's hopes and dreams, and maybe it'll happen. And then, you know, eventually, you know, the vision boards get kind of discouraging after a while, because you realize, like, okay, I didn't get the Lamborghini this year, you know, I didn't get stacks of cash, right? Or whatever it was, or the new relationship. And we get frustrated with that. And the reason we get frustrated is because many times we don't have a plan that we're following. And so we feel lost. We feel lost when we're not accomplishing our short-term and our long-term goals, because sometimes we set the goals, or we have ambition to do something, but we don't have a step-by-step guided plan to get there. And what I love about an IDP is it allows for a person to say, this is where I am in terms of my strengths, my abilities, my skills, and this is where I'm going. And that way it tells me what skills and what competencies I need to grow in order to get there. It's no longer about, okay, this is what I want 6 months from now. It's saying this is where I'm going to be 6 months from now, because here is a step-by-step process that I'm going to follow, so that 6 months from now I can look back and say, I followed the plan, and here's where I'm at now, and here's how I've grown. And so you're identifying your strengths. I think that's a really big thing at Culture of Good. We do that through Strengths Finder 2.0. So we use that as a way to identify your top tier strengths, your top 5 strengths, and you want to grow based on those strengths, not just say, well, I suck at all this shit, so now I got to work on that all year long so I can just get kind of good at it. No, you find what you're really good at and you become great at it. That's part of the ID. What are you good at that you can actually grow that skill and become great at that? And are there areas that you do need to grow in, right? Are there skills that you don't have that you want to develop, so that you can get to where you want to go?
I think you talk about the growth, right? It's that improve your overall performance, and having that accountability. A lot of times, I think a lot of people focus on their weakness to say, "Hey, I want to get better than that," and they naturally think that their strength is just going to keep them where they need to be. But really, you got to keep continuing feeding yourself, right? If you don't continue to feed yourself, that's why basketball players shoot 500 shots every morning, right? They'll shoot 500 free throws. They'll shoot 500 jump shots in one area. It's not because they're great and they're cool and they love to do that. It's repetition. It's the mentality of always looking to improve, but also grow in those areas. How can I fix my shot, or fix my strength that's in Mango while working on my weakness, right?
I think that's great, man.
And so having that overall improved performance, I think, is important to identify that. I'm glad that you shared that, because it's important for people to understand you still have to maximize your strength. Right. That still has to be your bread and butter, and it still has to be a part of the conversation when you're doing these IDPs.
Let me say something. It's okay to be bad at some stuff. Like that's kind of how it works, you know.
It's a team, right?
Well, that's the idea.
It's a team thing, right? I'm good at what I'm good at, and what I suck at, I surround myself with
people that are good at it.
Yeah,
and that's the idea. Like, a lot of times we think we have to be all things. We have to be good at everything. And I'm not. I'll be honest. I'm really good at brand. I'm a great brand ambassador. I'm great at getting messaging out. I'm a great storyteller, keynote. In terms of business development, I'm good at it, but I need help. Right. But if I have a skill that I'm really horrible at best, I can get average. But if I'm average at something, I can get really good at it. So think about that in terms of improvement. Maybe in this year, you may want to grow a skill that, you know, you want to grow that muscle because you recognize that's what's being promoted within the workplace, and you're going to focus on that. And that's wonderful. But also, I think identifying your strengths earlier on And so that's the question. Do you know what your strengths are? Because when you know your strengths, you know what you have to work with.
Yeah.
You know,
and that's the key, like being able to identify what your strengths are.
Well, we didn't always want, if I was the coach of the Lakers, I wouldn't have wanted Shaq on the foul line all the time. You know what I'm saying? Hey, there's a reason it was called Hack and Shaq, bro.
Shaq, I got your back, man. When it mattered most, when I needed you the most, that's the line. When I needed you the most, you gave me your very best. Urban Meyer for the Ohio State, he would always say, when I needed you the most, you gave me your very best.
Yeah, that's it.
So when it mattered, Shaq hit him.
Yeah.
What he did in the first, second, third quarter,
but
it wasn't his strength.
Right. And you could tell he didn't focus just on that all the time. Now, he could have grown his ability in that for sure. But what he was really good at, he became great at.
Yeah.
And then you surround yourself with a team that's good at the other stuff.
Yeah.
Right. And that's the idea with the IDP, even to that concept of who in my IDP, who are the people that are important to me realizing these goals. Right. And so I'm going to throw up real quick. I'm not going to throw up real quick. I'm going to throw up a slide real quick. Yeah, exactly. It was all that tequila last night, man. I keep bringing, see, it's literally how I feel right now. So SMART goals, you guys know this, many of you, some may not. But SMART is about setting specific goals that you recognize aren't just, broad goals. You want to really hone in on where you're headed, not just with intention. You're setting direction in this place. You want to ensure that they're measurable. That's a big key to being able to say, am I actually accomplishing this?
Yeah.
It's easy to think about in terms of free throws. I'm glad you brought that up. So you think about the free throws, that's just a given in work. You're going to have free throws at work. It's the practice of the everyday ongoing thing that you do. You can measure that. You can measure how many free throws you miss and you don't. But what about like caring and culture and that empathy? It's sometimes difficult to measure that, right? Yeah. But what if empathy is measured in observable? Like if I want to grow as a leader in my empathy this year, and I know that's an area that I'm good at, but I really want to be there for people, I can still measure that by saying, okay, I'm going to set a goal that every single day I'm going to spend 20 minutes away from everything else at work to just show up for somebody one-on-one in a personal way. And that's something that I can measure. Maybe it's once a week, whatever it is, but set measurable goals in that. You want them to be achievable, right? So we have a lot of ambition. That's why vision boards are difficult to manage, because a lot of it's just simply not achievable. And we want to have reachable goals. We want to have short-term goals and long-term goals. We want them to stretch us, challenge us, but we want those to be achievable. We want them to be relevant. Obviously, they need to be relevant to where we're headed, and then time bound. Yeah. When is this going to happen? When you're setting your IDP, use that SMART process and say, what are my professional goals? Where do I want to grow? Am I looking for a promotion this year? Am I looking to advance my career? But also, let's also consider that you can tie in your IDP also to your personal goals, your personal development. Yeah. That's one of the things that we offer with the Culture of Good. I want to thank Culture of Good for sponsoring the podcast every week. What we offer with Culture of Good is that very thing, to be able to set an IDP. So somebody's like, okay, I'm not fully sure I can just tackle this. There's a lot of resources out there. We're going to be publishing some charts that you can use to fill in an IDP next week when you join us for part 2 of this. But ultimately, we want to encourage you to just say, all right, what are my short-term goals? And really follow that SMART, set those goals in a smart way and make sure that they're time bound, and then start to say, okay, by this quarter, I'm hoping to accomplish this. This is a goal that I want to accomplish. And then what I'd love for you to do is I'd love for you to actually sit down with your manager, with your leader, and then start to embed some accountabilities into that. This is what we've been talking about the last couple of weeks, accountability. All right, what are we accountable to?
Yeah.
And this is almost like a third part of accountability, because now you set this IDP, plan it out, and you have something that you can say, I want to be accountable to this. And you bring that to your leader and say, this is what I want to accomplish.
Yeah. And then when you do that, there's so many benefits in this, right?
Sure.
We talk about the why and what it is. The benefits of an IDP really, that I love is what you just said, the accountability portion.
Yeah.
Because accountability changes you. It's a tool in the toolbox, right? A hammer is only good for a hammer if you pull it out and use it for the purpose, right?
Right.
If you're trying to screw something in, but you got a hammer in your hand, it's gonna be pretty difficult to put that in there. So you got to make sure you're using the right tools, because the right tools have a purpose to be used. And so when I think about the IDP from my standpoint, and giving it to somebody, I give it to you as an accountability partner, friend, right, and then a mentor. So I got multiple people giving me accountability to check me where I'm at, right? And that is something that you got to get permission to do in this, because sometimes it's hard to take criticism constructively or negatively from certain people. So you got to be able to find yourself being okay at times, being checked, and not being okay. You're not on track with your goals, right? So that accountability is there. But the benefits that I love is the accountability. Another one is really you're outlining the goals of really what your purpose is, your why, as we talk about, right? I know what I'm doing every day. I know what
that's
I'm
something I don't hear people talking about, putting on the IDP, like the why.
Why? Because you want to have a sense of belonging in every place, right? The workplace. I want to feel like I'm connected and I belong at home. And all that's tied into, if you don't have a connection with the why you're doing this IDP, it's a vision. It's just another thing on the board that I failed to accomplish because I wasn't accountable.
Right.
But if I tie it to my why and my purpose of why I'm doing everything I do, that gives me a sense of purpose of I really want to improve my skills.
Yes.
Right. I want that. That's a benefit. So accountability, outlining your goals, and really short-term and long-term, and really developing those things, and then improving my skill set. So I call it, some people call it the gaps, right? I call it the bridge, because I don't want there to be, I want to build this thing. So I'm not just in my life, and we both have this mentality, just get over it, right? Everybody's heard it in the workplace, in life, in any ship that you've been in, a marriage ship, a relationship, a business ship.
I thought you said shit.
That too. Some of those.
Somebody like, I got a relationship.
It's stuck. But we were taught all our lives really to get over things. Just get over it. But when you're building a bridge, you're getting through it.
You're getting through it.
Right?
You don't get over it, you get through it.
You get through it. You got to build a bridge to take away those gaps and really get through things so that it doesn't come back to haunt you 6 months later in the midst of you trying to achieve your accomplishments in your IDP. And so those benefits are really building these bridges to cover the gaps. And
I love that.
And those important skills sets.
That's really,
really, then you hone into your strengths and your weakness. You really grow those things that you talked about. Those are benefits, man, to be able to say, man, I was good at this year. And now I'm great. I'm comfortable. Like it's such second nature to me. Man, I suck at this, but I'm better. I'm better. And to take that time, and that's why for me, November before Thanksgiving, it's the season of thankfulness.
Right.
I'm thankful for me. Snoop Dogg, you remember when he got the star? He got the star. He's like, and last but not least, I want to thank me. Right. I want to thank me for believing in me. I want to thank me for getting up,
showing up for yourself.
You have to show up for yourself.
Well, and this is what I'm thinking with the IDP too, that we don't talk a whole lot in the workplace about, but think about also the IDP, not only professionally. So you're setting your professional goals, you have ambition, you want to grow at work, you want new experiences and opportunities. Advancement is something always in people's minds in terms of those that are driven. Maybe you want to make more money, whatever it is. Our coaching and training helps to develop leaders to be able to take the steps that we're talking about here. But think about not only your professional goals, but I also want you to think about your personal goals as well. And as part of your IDP, I want you to think about your well-being. What are your relationship goals? Health and fitness, your finances. What are your goals around education? in terms of advancement. And I would say this, one of the most important IDP goals that you're going to have is, what is your goal around play, around fun? How are you going to have fun in 2023? What are the places you want to go, the people you want to see, the experiences you want to have? For those that are in legal areas, the cannabis you want to smoke, whatever it is, that's like, I want these experiences, these shared, and then thinking about those areas of your life, and something that we teach over and over and over. And hopefully those that are new with us, you're going to hear this a lot. Those that have been with us for a while, this should be a given. All of this, everything that you have on your IDP, your goals, your SMART goals, we went through that. You know, you're aware of how that all works. It's relevant to what you're doing. All of those goals should align and should lead up to your values, your personal values being lived up to. You're honoring your values. The reason we build bridges from point A to point B is not because we get restless and we just need to keep being in motion. The reason we're headed from point A to point B is we believe that B is will have a greater advantage. There's something at B that's going to better our life, right? That's why we go see a therapist. Could be on your IDP. It could be hiring a coach. It could be hiring George.
Hey, listen, men, I just want to say this because it's very important to me, especially with this year. It is okay to not be okay.
Yeah.
Right. It's okay to have a coach. It's okay to have a therapist. I think it's important as we talk about the well-being. I just wanted to say that.
No, we should stay on that for a moment.
It's that stigma out there and it goes back to just get over it, right? Be tough. And men don't acknowledge that, don't want to have that stigma of you're too sensitive. Listen, I'd rather be a sensitive, open-hearted man.
Than a jackass.
Than a jackass.
You can say it, man.
And then somebody who's cold-hearted. But no, it's not even about being a jackass, but it's also about we don't open up and talk about our problems, And then we talk about mental health. But man, some of the strongest trees die because the roots are horrible because they don't get to get out.
You know what's funny, man?
Take care of themselves.
It's like we'll go to a bar and drink and open up to the bartender that we don't know and tell them all our problems and listen to them, and they'll listen to us. But our close friends we don't open up with, man. I'm glad we have that kind of connection because for me,
and we need somebody.
I mean, you do, and
you need somebody.
Yeah, every single person needs someone. And I think everybody needs to have a person. You need to have a plan, and you need to have passion, right? To like lead this forward and to keep that passion going. That's what I want to talk about a little bit as we're kind of thinking about this. So again, we're thinking personal and professional within the IDP. We're thinking add your why in there within the culture of good structure of everything we do. Everything's quarterly. So why don't you just say, okay, if I don't have a chart yet, you can download PDFs. There's all kinds of resources out there. Many companies and consultants that help with making your IDP. What we do that's really unique with that is we're really focused on not only your professional goals, but how is your personal health and well-being along the way. Because we meet people all the time that reach their professional goals and their family everything's falling apart along the way because they've not honored their values, right? They don't have a plan to do so. And so, we really want to encourage you to think about it in what's quarter one, what's quarter two, in the same way that you would set your goals and for your quarterly goals for your work, you want to do that for yourself as well and say first quarter, second quarter, third. That's how is that kind of how you do it, or do you kind of just?
Well, I think it's this. So for me, I think it's important. This is just another thing that I personally do. When I was younger, and now that I'm older, a couple of things change, right? When you realize your purpose in life, you change a lot of things. You change how you spend your time. When I was younger, I spent time and I spent money.
Yeah.
Right. And money is, a lot of people, when we talk about the ROI, what's the ROI of an IDP?
Yeah.
For me, it's a mentality of what's changed. When I was younger, I spent money.
Yeah.
Now that I'm older, I invest money.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the problem is, as adults, we spend our greatest resource and not invest it. Yeah, we spend time, right? And then when we say I don't have enough time, and I don't have, no, you don't spend time. When you have an IDP, the benefit is you don't spend time anymore, you invest time.
And that's one of the things that I would encourage you on your IDP to do. Years ago, I wrote a blog about how important it is to set an appointment with yourself.
Yes.
To put appointments on your calendar, you meeting with you.
Yeah.
Right.
This is funny because when I first started dating Amber back in 2004, man, I had the Palm Pilot. You remember those?
Yeah.
But I was on schedule, dude. I traveled a lot and speaking. And I just had a busy schedule, but I would put her on the schedule.
Yeah.
And she hated. She's like, "You got to put me." But I literally live by that.
Yeah.
And still to this day, I still do that. I make time for me.
Right? Yeah. I mean,
and I don't care what it is. It
right.
could be sipping a glass of wine. It could be, playing video games. Yeah. Whatever it may be. Like it's me time.
Just imagine this: if you could think of one leader, George, in the entire world that would have the most impact on you right now, if you met with them, who would it be?
Man. So I had the opportunity to meet John Maxwell.
Okay, so John Maxwell, and if you had an opportunity next week to meet with John Maxwell, would you take it?
100%.
You'd set it on your calendar.
Yeah, I'll sacrifice something.
Because the idea is, if I meet with John Maxwell, that's the greatest leader I can meet with. Guess what? The greatest leader you can meet with, we both know this, is you. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, John Maxwell goes back home and he cashes his check and he moves on. Right. And he writes his next book, or he has his team write its next book. But you meeting with you doing this IDP. And so if you do nothing else with this podcast, I want you right now to grab your phone and get an appointment with yourself for 1 hour before this week is out. The end of today, Thursday, Friday, set an hour on your phone right now. We're going to give you a moment to set that hour so that you can actually sit down and you can look at, what are my goals? Mm-hmm. Are they smart? Right? Are they smart? Yeah. What's the why behind it? Does it include not only my professional ambitions, but also what I want personally and what I need personally for my own health and well-being? And and the reason why I say that you're the greatest leader you could ever meet with is because no one knows you like you. You know your bullshit more than anybody else. How, and so when you start to become empowered to lead yourself well, this is exciting. I would encourage you also, in a very practical way, for those of you that would want to identify your strengths, you can go on and do Strength Finder on your own. That is part of our coaching process, and we help you unpack and identify, what are my strengths, how to use those in the best way to lead and with your team. And we also provide that coaching and training for organizations that may not have any leadership development, or they're looking to upskill their leaders and make a more robust leadership culture. That's what's really important, because when we look at these IDPs, we think, well, this would be really good for each of my team to do. No, this starts with you. As a matter of fact, I would say that everybody from the CEO all the way through the entire company should have an IDP, should know what their individual development plan is and how that develop. This gets a little deeper. We'll get into it next week. But how does that individual development plan feed into my TDP, with my team development plan, and then the ODP? Right? The organization.
It all aligns, right?
Yeah, it should.
It should really align, because, and then the top, if you're a CEO, if you're a leader of a group or a team, you should do this, because it's all about alignment.
Yeah.
What is the main purpose? Right. What we're doing and why we're doing it. And then what is my main purpose and what I'm doing and why, and how does that align to make me get to that lead, to be able to close that gap.
Yeah.
Right. And so there's accountability there and there's structure there.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, the main thing is always going to be the main thing. How's my main thing getting to the organization?
My mentor used to say the main thing is to keep the main thing
the main thing.
So we're almost out of time here, but the other thing I want to mention is, you said this is really important for a team lead to do with their team. Absolutely. And here's one of the things that I would also encourage you to do. If you have new team members come on, right? And this is something that we should do as well. I mean, you're new, so this is something we should do this week. If I'm going to preach it, we should do it. Yeah. And so we would sit down and say, okay, what is your IDP for the next 12 months?
Mhm.
And I'll work with you to help design that and develop that. Because what that allows you to do then is you see yourself working in this organization for the next 12 months.
Yeah.
Usually as people are coming into work, they don't have a scope. You're giving people a scope, you're giving them goals and objectives. It's measurable.
Yeah.
You can celebrate those wins along the way.
Yeah.
And that's a big thing too.
Yeah. And it's leading yourself as well.
Yeah.
The self-leadership portion. And, we say with that leadership and self-leadership, life is a sum of how well we lead ourselves. And so that's important.
Yeah.
It's really important. Before we get off here, I do want to make a special announcement, and it's not a special announcement as if it's not a surprise.
Yes.
But we have a cohort. We got
January
24th, 25th. I'm excited about this. And I want to just take the last couple of seconds to really talk about January 24th and 25th. We are virtual for our champion culture. We're certifying champions in the workplace. Listen, this is an investment for you as a person individually.
Mm-hmm.
This could be a part of your IDP as become a culture champion. And so we will lead you, guide you, and give you true practical strategies on how to really lead and champion people in the workplace and really impact the culture in the workplace. And so I'm excited about this. Whether you're in a company, whether you are starting your own business, I will encourage you to attend this virtual 2-day training that I believe could be the foundation of your 2023 and how you can bring value.
I mean, it's in January.
It's in January. So you Christmas is coming up. Gift yourself a Christmas gift. Go to if you're a leader, go to your management, your leader, your CEO, and say, hey, listen, I want to invest in me to make me a better person, so I can make this a better place.
Yeah.
And really be involved in it. This is something that's changed. And let's share maybe a video or testimonial from some of our clients, TCC, Scott Moorhead.
Yeah, we'll send some stuff out as well, so you can start to see that. Go on cultureofgood.com, register today. We slashed the price in half, man. Really, with the Culture of Good, what we want to do is
50% off.
Yeah, we want to grow this. So it's $1,000 now, $9.99. You can register today for $100. That saves your seat. Seats are limited. There's 25 seats not available now. It's actually less than that. But what we're doing is filling in those seats, and you can reserve your spot with $100 today. And that allows you then to put that on your, I didn't think about that. That's the next challenge. Put that on your IDP. Yeah. If you can't afford $9.99, we'll let you pay that over 12 months. I think it's like $67 a month. I don't remember what it is, but it's very minimal for, I'm telling you, the support, tools, tactics, and training that, as George said, lays that foundation that you can build on throughout the year and really see your goals and objectives accomplished this year. I'm excited, George. I'm glad that you're here. Glad you're part of the team. I do want to mention we have an audience member here with us for the first time. We have one audience member here. We don't have a camera. Can you turn the camera around? So, oh, no, she doesn't. No, all right. Just clap like there's people here.
There we go.
Thank you so much.
We got one audience member, VIP. It's $100 seat to spend 2 hours with us, 45 minutes or 30 minutes on the podcast.
Oh, that would be cool. We should make that seat a VIP seat. If you want that VIP seat, reach out to us. We should just gift that to people that are on with us all the time. We should do a drawing of the VIP seat. That would be fun. Spend the day with George and I promise you'll that end of that day, you'll just I think we should do that, man.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah. Anyway, January 24th and 25th, you'll put on your IDP. Put on your IDP to be with us back next week, Wednesday. And we're going to be live again for part 2 of writing your own individual development plan. We'll see you back next week on Champion Your Culture. There's no ending. We're just going to love you, and make sure that you subscribe.
Yep. Hey, subscribe,
what else?
rate. And we on spot. We're on
only rate us if you give us 5 stars. If you give us less, we're going to go on to your business and rate you. Kidding. Love ya. See you guys next week. Peace.